There's no prize for any of that shit.
You're not gonna win a prize at the end of your life for being the most overworked, tired custom clothier.
And there's no prize for seeing your kids the least or for going on the fewest vacations.
Yeah, taking the fewest work days off.
There's no prize for that.
This is Appointment Only, the podcast for custom clothiers and entrepreneurs building profitable, high-end businesses. If you want control, profitability, and freedom from what feels like an endless hustle, this is for you. We're Kenny and Danny, twin brothers from day one and business partners for more than 15 years. We're sharing insights from our own experiences as luxury custom clothiers who built our own business from nothing. The highs, the lows, and what we've learned along the way that will help you build a high-end business you actually enjoy running and isn't running you. Clothier Coaching's official podcast. Appointment Only starts now. Welcome back, regulars, all you Appointment Only fans, freaks, more like freaks.
Yeah, they are just freaks for Appointment Only.
Freaks for our content, that's for sure. Ooh, did you just say that too?
No.
Oh, I thought you said it at the same time.
Content kooks.
Welcome back, regulars. We are glad that you're here. I mean, welcome to the only podcast for custom clothiers about running a custom clothing business.
That's got to be true, right?
It is true. Every other custom clothing podcast I've ever heard of, seen clips from, it's all about like weddings and style.
Sure.
I haven't ever, I mean, if I'm wrong and if I'm speaking out of turn and if I'm sharing hashtag fake news, let me know because I don't want to be doing that. But I believe from my research, we are the only ones putting content out there about running a custom clothing business, not about custom clothing.
And by that, we have the best custom clothing podcast about running a business on the airwaves. We also have the worst one. It's both the best and the worst. It has the best information and the most fake news.
And did you know that we're Emmy nominated? Did you?
That can't be true.
I am.
What do you mean?
I'm Emmy nominated. I didn't win.
That's like me saying I'm training for the Olympics. What? I'm training.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I'm training.
Yeah.
I don't think
anything can happen.
I don't think there's going to be any next steps taken, but I'm training. I'm training for something big.
Yeah. And in my past life, I've two-time Emmy nominated.
Wow.
0-time winner.
That's right. Okay.
So I'm an Emmy nominated podcast host. And if anyone knows what they're listed, they're like, I mean, you don't win Emmys for podcasts. You're right. You're right. This is from way back when.
What are the podcast awards called though?
Like, well, I would know.
Potties?
I don't know. Why are you looking at me like I'm aware?
I don't know.
Trust me, we've never been invited.
If you know how to create a category for potties, I believe that's the awards. Let's create a custom clothing one so that we have a surefire win.
The best podcast for custom clothiers. There's a medal and a statue. I got a place for her right there.
We have a lot of places, a lot of blank space on these walls.
If we ever won a podcast award, it would go right here. If I ever won an Emmy, it would be right here.
Keep watching because someday there's going to be a big award right here, and then you'll know that we've won.
What we could do is we could spray paint one of our old microphones gold, and we could say,
"Don't give the secret sauce
away." That we
away.
won a podcast award.
Speaking of "Don't give the secret sauce away," what a segue that was.
That was great. That was great.
Today we are going to unapologetically be talking about our group of like-minded custom clothiers, and we like to call it the Luxury Clothier Collective.
And if, I'm just going to I don't want to bury the lead. Luxury Clothier Collective enrollment is live right now. We've been teasing it for a while. It hasn't been live for many, many, many months, and it is live right now. If you've already been on the enrollment request list, the wait list, you will have already been notified. If you have not done that yet, you can go online right now and you can join Luxury Clothier Collective right now. There's 2 terms, 6 month and a year. I'd recommend a year, but you do you. And it's live right now. You can join right now. This hardly ever happens. We're going to talk a lot about what's inside, the benefits, some stories, some real success stories that we've already experienced doing Luxury Clothier Collective, because we've been at it now for a year, almost a full year we've been doing it. And it has completely changed people's businesses. And it is super exciting. But if you can't wait, I don't want to make you listen to this whole podcast and then join at the end, because you might miss your chance. You know what is a great example of
You might
missing your
miss
chance?
your chance in this next 30 minutes.
Well, you might, because you never know. The shoes you're wearing.
Okay.
This is what happens when you don't act fast. The shoes you're wearing, you almost didn't have those shoes. And let me tell you why. I was at the Brunelli Cucinelli outlet.
Brunello.
What did I say?
Brunelli Cucinelli.
Brunelli.
It's the fake Brunello Cucinelli.
It was Brunello Fucinelli.
Really high-end spot called Brunelli Cucinello.
I was at the Brunello Cucinelli. There's an outlet outside Toronto. I was there loading up. Don't tell customs, but I bought some shoes. And I saw those, they were the right size. And I was telling my salesperson, I'll have those as well. And so she grabbed them and put them in my pile. And as I was checking out at the checkout counter, the guy next to me was like, those are really great shoes. I was like, thank you so much. I'm very excited about them. And he said, you stole them from me. I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, I was trying on suits and I was going to go back and grab those shoes and you beat me to it. And I said, well, where do you live? And he said, I live right down the road. And I said, okay, well, why don't you just check back tomorrow?
Yeah, seriously.
I said, I flew in from Minnesota and I'm probably never going to be back. So I think it's only fair. And he agreed. But I thought, isn't that a good object lesson? If you know you want something, get it. If you have your eye on something, take it. Don't wait. You could lose out, even if it's just a few minutes that you wait. You have to act when you have the opportunity to act.
Well, and it's the same principle too as shopping for houses. I hate to even say shopping because you shouldn't do that. You really should only look at houses when you're ready to buy, because depending on the market, it could be a matter of an additional 5 minutes of the open house before something, a strong offer comes in. And it doesn't do anybody any good to be shopping around and looking for things and keeping it in the back of your mind. It doesn't make any sense. When you're ready to buy a house, that's when you start to look. And when you find the house that you want, you buy it. You put an offer in on it at least immediately. Otherwise, it could be gone.
So what does all this have to do with Luxury Clothier Collective? Well, if you've been following us over the last year, the last couple years, you've heard, of course, about Luxury Clothier Collective, which is our small group mastermind. It's very exclusive. We're only allowing 1 clothier per region into the group, 1 clothier per city, because the whole purpose of Luxury Clothier Collective is training custom clothiers to be the #1 clothier in their market. And the only way we can guarantee that we're doing that is if we're working with 1 in a market. I'm not going to take on 3 people from, let's just say, Indianapolis and then pit them all against each other. And then what also would happen if you're in the group and you're sharing your real struggles and your real information is you're not going to be super transparent or super honest if you know you've got one of your competitors also on the call listening to everything you're saying. So it's designed to be exclusive intentionally, because that is really, it's for you. It's for you so that you can really hit the ground running and you can feel the freedom to be honest, transparent, share what's really going on, and not only share your struggles, but share your wins. Because what happens when you run into people that do the same thing that you do in your town? Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's good. Really good. Really busy.
Exactly. Do you think this guy's busy? I don't know. He might be. It doesn't matter if he is or not, though. He's going to tell you he is. That's just how it goes. It doesn't matter if you're a custom clothier or if you're a realtor or if you are a general contractor. I don't know. Fill in the blank. Fill in the blanks with whatever you do for work. You're not going to feel the freedom to be as transparent about what's going on if you know you've got people listening in who may or may not be doing anything positive with that information. So Luxury Clothier Collective is designed to be exclusive. And really what it is it's our eyes and our brains helping you run your business. Every week, there's a Zoom call where not everybody's on every single call. It's not required. We're not going to kick you out of the group if you can't make a Zoom call. But the idea would be that you prioritize them, that you're in your calendar. We've never missed one.
No.
We facilitate each and every call. And every week, it's a Zoom call where we're checking in. We're talking about what's going on. We're actively working through whatever we need to work through that specific week. And then there's an ongoing group chat throughout the week where as things come up, as things are needing to be worked through, there's an outlet for that as well. And so you've got us, you've got the other clothiers in Luxury Clothier Collective, LCC. I'm just going to start calling it LCC because Luxury Clothier Collective, Luxury Clothier Collective, Luxury Clothier Collective, Luxury Clothier Collective, Luxury Clothier Collective. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to keep going.
That was amazing.
You just did it a lot.
It's like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers.
There we go.
But it's very, very intensive and it's very, very
high touch.
High touch.
And it's not just our eyes and our brains on your businesses. I think more importantly, it's our experience guiding you in your journey in business. Because that's ultimately what attracts people. It's not our big ass brains. It's not like people can't wait to just get inside these honkers. It's the fact that we have experience running a custom clothing business in a whole bunch of different iterations and taking it from what it used to be to what it is today. And the same things that we did to take it from where it was to where it is, they apply. They don't just apply in where we live. They apply all over the place. And so that's really, I think, the big thing about LCC is it's experience-driven mentorship and it's results-driven mentorship. That's the other thing is everybody who's in LCC right now is in it for a different reason. All the reasons are similar, but everybody has different pain points and different struggles. They're operating, of course, in different markets, as we've communicated. But everybody is in it for a different reason. Many people want to make more money, of course. Many people want to live a more manageable, work life, have work-life balance. Makes sense. Many people want the caliber of client that they see regularly to increase. Great. Some people want more clients. Okay. Let's take that with a grain of salt.
Let's work through that a little bit.
Let's finesse it and make it work for you. Like there are different needs that the different clothiers and LCCs have. And LCC have different wants that they have, but ultimately they want the same thing, which is I want a business that is feeling really great, that energizes me. I want to work with clients that spend good money and that don't drain me and that respect me. And I want to enjoy what I do.
We just had, if you listened to last week's episode, we just had our Luxury Clothier Collective in-person retreat, the first annual retreat. I'm kicking around the idea of maybe doing a shorter version of the retreat around one of the trade shows, like a day.
Sure.
Where we do something like that, where it's intensive. It's not the multiple day retreat, but it's like a mini retreat. Just kicking it around. It's an option for those of you who might want to be part of LCC. You would be invited to that. But we just wrapped our Luxury Clothier Collective retreat, and it was awesome. We'll tell you a little bit more about it later on. But one thing that was asked in the retreat, and I want to talk about it today, is one of the clothiers in LCC, is the most recent one to join. He asked us a very interesting question during the retreat, and it was basically, if LCC was available to you when you were in my stage of business, how would that have impacted you?
Yeah, it was a really good question. And it took us, I think, a couple of days to fully digest it. Because it would be really easy for me to say, well, if LCC was available to me when I was in your stage of business, I could have, gotten where I am much sooner.
Well, and ultimately that is true.
Well, yes, it is true. Of course, it's true.
But we wanted to be thoughtful and specific because that's why he's working with us, and part of the group is for the transparency and the honesty.
And really, I think the question was twofold. It was yes, when you were in my shoes, what would that have looked like for you? But I think the second part of it was, did the things that you did incorrectly where now you have email templates, now you have order minimum requirements, now you have all of these things dialed in because of presumably mistakes that were made along the way. Did you learn more through those mistakes, and are you better off now, or would you have benefited from a group like this back then? And so it took me a little while to fully wrap my mind around the question itself. And the conclusion that I came to is, I think, yes, of course it would have helped when we were in a different stage of business. But I think as I take a look at the different stages of business, I think the stage of business that it would have really, really helped us a lot, it was in kind of that $250,000 to about $500,000 mark as a company. When we were living in that world, where we had consistent clients, where we did have an online presence, obviously, where we were working with people with frequency. A lot of it was grooms.
We had a location at that point.
Yep. But when we were doing kind of that amount of business, I feel like the mentorship in the LCC group would have catapulted us beyond that mark much quicker than we actually lived in that mark. I mean, we lived in that mark for a period of years. I think we could have been beyond that $500,000 threshold in about a year, maybe a year and a half, had we had the group that we have right now. Because there's so many things that we get into in LCC. And it's not just positioning yourself as your market's luxury custom clothier. There's a lot of work that goes into that.
Right.
It's not just taking the right picture and posting the right Instagram.
It's not this magic formula that, once we get a hold of your business, we're going to just give you the secret sauce, and then all of a sudden you're your market's luxury leader.
Yeah, we're going to give you the right tag to put on the bottom of your website. Like it's not that simple.
It's a process, and it's different for every clothier, but ultimately almost every clothier is dealing with versions of the exact same thing. And our strategies are proven to work.
And it's no different than we gave a talk in New York years ago. And we talked about 5 client profiles. And we talked, let's see if we
I bet we could remember them.
Okay.
The first was, this is not in the right order, but it was a friend and family.
Friends and family.
Groom.
The veteran.
Oh yeah, the custom clothing veteran.
The newbie. And the asshole. And we talked in great detail.
Asshole is the best. We should have trademarked that.
Yeah, I know.
Because it just sums it up. And when we said the asshole, you know exactly who we're talking about.
Oh yeah, there was somebody who popped into your mind when we said that. But we talked about those people and how to work with those people and how to manage conflict with those people. And
that was a banger of a presentation.
It was. There were probably 80 people there. And everybody came up to us afterwards and was, oh, I know exactly. Thank you so much. I deal with all those people too. And we all work in different parts of the country.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it.
We all work with the same people. And the same principle applies. We're all operating at different places in the country. And it's not as simple as, one tag or one picture or one marketing hack, but it's the same stuff that applies, that worked for us. We have seen work for our LCC members, and we have seen work very well for.
Speaking of what's working for our LCC clothiers, we're gonna tell you some specifics in a second, but before we even talk about that, I want to just say on a macro level, from bird's eye view, we did a little poll the other day. Every single clothier inside LCC is up this year over last year. And not only that, but every single clothier in LCC is up in their profitability and down in their number of clients.
Which means that the caliber of the meetings that they're having is going up. And they're the ones in charge of their calendars, by the way. It's not because everybody's so slow, so they have to react and charge more. It's, I'm in control of the way that my business is running. I am setting a little bit more red tape in front of the people who book with me because I'm a luxury custom clothier, and the people who are ready for me and will value my time schedule. And then I'm able to maximize that when they're in the room with me.
And we say it all the time. I don't want more leads. I want better leads. And the same is true of the other clothiers in LCC. They are working with people and they are making sure that when they're working with them, they are taking advantage of the strategies that we are helping them work through. And their meetings are really moving the needle just based on certain things that they're doing. They're making more than they've ever made. And they're also working in a much more manageable way than they've ever done. That is the purpose of LCC. It's running a lifestyle business that you can enjoy your life outside of work as well.
It's just not about the hustle and the grind. And I think so many times as business owners, we take some element of pride in how busy we are or how overworked we feel, or how stressed we are. Guess what? There's no prize for any of that shit.
You're not gonna win a prize at the end of your life for being the most overworked, tired custom clothier.
And there's no prize for seeing your kids the least or for going on the fewest vacations.
Yeah, taking the fewest work days off.
There's no prize for that. So we try to reverse engineer the business that we run. Like, shouldn't we all love being our own boss? Hell yeah, we should. But you talk to so many business owners and they're like, hey, it's not as good as it sounds. It can be though. But it takes focus and it takes clarity and it takes dedication and it takes time. And it also takes strategy. Because what's not going to happen is you're not going to accidentally create a work-life balance. You're not going to accidentally have months in a row where you're making more than you need to, and then all of a sudden you might as well take vacation. That's not going to happen.
No, that's not how it works.
And so many custom clothiers are living in this endless loop of, I'm just going to say $1,000 suits, right? But the same could be true for $1,500 suits, depending on your cost. This endless loop of these cheap clients, these transactional relationships, these in and out meetings,
wedding suits, tight
deadlines, stressful client,
rush order,
low spend, high maintenance, this endless loop. And they're hoping
consultation.
And they think maybe at some point the other shoe will drop and I won't be as stressed, or I'll accidentally be profitable, or I'll look in my bank account and I'll be excited. Ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's not going to happen. You have to make the changes. You have to change what you're doing in order to achieve a different result. The outcome you want is possible, but not if you keep doing the same shit you've been doing. That's why we started Luxury Clothier Collective. And we've been at it a year. In that time, like I said, every single clothier who's in it is seeing big impacts in their bottom line. They're up in their profits and they're just working smarter all around. We had one clothier inside who started Luxury Clothier Collective, and his first appointment after his first meeting of Luxury Clothier Collective, he made a $20,000 sale for the first time ever. That's a real story. It really happened. That's a real thing. We had another guy in Luxury Clothier Collective who, this was actually probably one of my favorite parts of our retreat, is we had people open their leads and for their upcoming appointments.
And we were kind of role playing the clothier, and they were role playing the
oh, this will be good.
Anticipation of the client. They were kind of, saying the things that all of our clients who are all the exact same say based on the lead. And we were doing these role playing exercise, and we were showing them, here's how we would take them through this meeting to maximize this sale, but also not just to maximize the sale, to maximize their needs. Mm-hmm. Or maximize their results, to meet their needs more fully than they may be understanding that we can.
That was the absolute best, because it was such a perfect way to spend our time in LCC, where we're actually helping him figure out what he's going to say when this guy says that, how he's going to present this, how and when he's going to talk price, because it's different now when you're running a luxury business than it was the way that he had been doing it. And he was textbook $1 million manual. He was absolutely textbook and he was killing it. I mean, this same guy, he ended up making his entire yearly investment in LCC in his first appointment after he joined.
First week.
His first week.
We had our intro call where we talked about some really specific strategies. And we were talking specifically in that first call about certain easy upsells. And at the next call, 1 week later, he had made an additional amount that was more than
$9,000.
Yeah, more than his yearly investment in all of LCC.
Yeah, so within the first week, he paid for the whole thing. But the same guy, he had a lead come through. We workshopped it with him. We role played it during the retreat. He went home and had the meeting, and it was a record sale for him.
And then 2 meetings after that, he hit virtually the exact same number.
He did it again. 2 record-breaking sales in the same week after workshopping just a simple lead, a regular lead that comes through that most clothiers would treat a lot differently.
And that's the other thing is in LCC, one thing that we teach you that I think is really valuable is we teach you how to identify those leads. How using the language that the potential client themselves is using when they reach out and what they fill out on your form, the things that they say is identifying which are the types of clients that I can take them through this updated sales process that can yield X result.
And those types of identifications takes practice. So when you're just getting started in the luxury world and you're just figuring out how to reach these people and you've just figured out how to see them, it is hard to identify, but that's where we come in.
Exactly.
We've been doing this. We know what we're looking for.
And that's where it's not about our brains, it's about our experience.
Exactly.
And about our trial and error that we've already done.
And in this specific example where, record-breaking sale, it was our identification of, hey, listen, I actually think you've got a really good thing here, and here's how you're going to take advantage of it. And he did. It works. It worked for him. And I'm so passionate about this. When we started Clothier Coaching, I'm just going to be totally honest. When we started Clothier Coaching, it wasn't because we wanted to come out with 6-figure upsells or mastering the wedding suit game, both of which extremely valuable. It wasn't because we wanted to do a monthly training for Clothier Kingdom like we did for a couple of years. Extremely valuable. It wasn't even because we wanted to come out with $1 million manual, which arguably is a life changer. But we did all of those things in Clothier Coaching. It certainly wasn't to provide free silly reels and to get all the DMs from clothiers. Oh, you should do a reel about this. You should do a reel about that.
And it's like, and how are you going to see it?
When we started doing Clothier Coaching, it was because we wanted to do what we needed back in the day. It was because we wanted to do Luxury Clothier Collective, because what would have really put us in a position where we could put our foot on the gas, Luxury Clothier Collective.
And even looking back at the business that we used to run, we were running this business in a certain way. And I'm looking back and I'm thinking about all of these missed opportunities, all of these clients who I knew were ready for more, but we didn't know how to identify them. We didn't have that luxury lens, and we certainly didn't know how to take somebody through a luxury process. And we did know how to deliver a luxury product, but we didn't have our antennas up in the same way.
And we were undervaluing ourselves. We were undercharging. We were not putting the right red tape in front of the right types of people. Not everybody needs it, but certain people do. That's another thing that you'll identify with time and practice. We were doing it wrong. And we didn't realize it at the time, though. If only we had something like LCC, where we could have been learning and hearing from other clothiers who are doing similar things.
And showing people who weren't competitors of ours, here's a lead that just came in. What do you think?
Yeah. Or on the flip side, here's a horrible thing I'm going through. What can I do? What should I say? How can I talk this client off the ledge, even though I might be in the middle of missing his deadline? What can I say? Help. That sort of access and that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Guidance?
Yeah. that sort of guidance would have been invaluable. It would have been worth hundreds of thousands of dollars if we would have had the opportunity. We would have, we're creating what we wish we would have had and what we know we needed and what we know other clothiers actively need.
Do you know how we know that this is what other clothiers actively need? Well, first of all, because we were there. And it was not that long ago. The other way we know it is because our DMs are
You're telling me. I know you need it because you're telling me you need it. I know what you're dealing with because you're asking me what to do. You're asking me what to say.
And the same principle that we use in our business, where if you don't want to pay for it, I don't want you to have it. Every time we get a DM from a custom clothier who has questions or is going through something, and we try to help in a little bit, but there's so much more we could get into. We try to give them a little bit of this, little bit of that. We are not going to give the secret sauce away for free.
Well, let's just be honest. If you're not listening to the podcast, if you're missing all that, if you haven't gone through any of our other resources that the hours and hours and hours of content and videos and email templates and scripts and all of that stuff that we provide, yet you're going to run into an issue and the first thing you're going to do is DM me and ask me to solve your problem for you. I'm sorry, I'm not going to. We've given you what you need, and Luxury Clothier Collective is the resource you need if you're really looking to get to that next step and you're looking to finally run the business you wanted to run when you started. Just because you sell custom suits doesn't mean you're selling luxury.
And LCC isn't for every custom clothier. That's the thing.
It isn't.
It's for the custom clothiers who want what we've been communicating. It's for the custom clothiers who look at us and look at our business and say, I would love to have something that more closely resembles that than what I currently have. It's for the custom clothiers who are frustrated with elements of their business, knowing that there are other custom clothiers out there who've gotten it figured out to a degree. That's who it's for. Who it's not for is a custom clothier who does actually want to sell cheap suits to cheap clients. And they want to have full calendars doing that, and they're fine making no money. There are people that it sounds kind of crazy when I'm saying that out loud, but I promise you, because I've heard from these people, there are people who actually feel better, peace of mind wise, having a full calendar where they know they're not really going to make very much money than having a slow week with one promising lead in it.
Yeah, they'd rather feel busy.
Yeah, they'd rather feel busy. They'd rather come to work knowing they're going to see a person or two.
Yeah.
It's not for that clothier.
Couldn't be me.
No, it's not me. It's for the clothier who wants a more manageable, more profitable business. And who, when we say luxury clothier, who you're saying, yes, I want that. I want to work with those clients too.
And I want to just remind you listening, watching, that the reason we know this works is because we had to crawl out of this ourselves. I think sometimes with the business we run, and we have the podcast and the resources and clothier coaching, and we run a great custom clothing business. I think people sometimes forget that we struggled through it too, and that we actually, we didn't stumble into this, and we had to work our asses off for years, and we were doing a bad job for a while. Yeah. We weren't doing it well, and we got sick of it. And the only thing that's different between us and the business we're running and maybe you and the business you may be running is the willingness to do the hard thing and make those changes. It's not just about talking about it. It's about doing it. And if you're sitting here saying, yes, I would love to make a change, but what change should I make? That's where LCC comes in.
Yeah, listen, you either want the Brunelli or you don't. Seriously, you either want it or you don't. You're either going to put an offer in the house or you won't. The house is going to sell. The groom who's sitting in your inbox with his wedding 3 weeks out, if he doesn't buy his suit from you, which I would recommend he not.
He shouldn't.
He's going to buy it from somewhere else. Another thing that we work with our LCC members on is there are certain clothiers who are running a business today that is better than the business was a year ago, but they're having a hard time not operating from that poverty place, getting themselves to set the tone and set the stage for what's next, and not take on those deadlines that they know they shouldn't take on. A deadline that they would have taken on a year ago, or a client they would have put up with a year ago, is practicing saying no. These are all things that are important, and you hear it all the time. The most successful people out there say no the most. They don't say yes the most. And that's something that we're also, working with clothiers on, is that practice, that luxury practice of understanding that you're for fewer people than you are not for. Most people will not prioritize you to the degree that you need them to work with you. There's all sorts of little shifts and mindset changes.
And that's only going to get more and more prevalent as you continue on in your quest to be your market's luxury leader.
We used to say 10 plus years ago, when somebody would say, who's an ideal client for you? We used to have clients ask us these questions. And I'm looking back and I'm like, man, what were they getting at? I feel like we could have identified that and grown so much quicker and so much faster and so much healthier sooner had we had LCC. But we used to have clients ask us, who's your target demo? And we would say, anyone who wants to buy a custom suit's my target demographic.
No,
it's like,
wrong.
Oh my gosh, no.
Well, and you know what? If you don't see what's wrong with that, then I don't think LCC is right for you yet. Not to say it wouldn't be maybe a year from now if we reopen it or whatever, but it's probably not right for you now. If that is actually what you believe, then this isn't the right time. And no problem, that's fine. I'm very, very used to not being for everyone. It doesn't bug me.
But if you're a clothier who, when asked, who is your target demo? And your answer is not anyone who wants to buy a custom suit. It's more targeted. It's, I want people who prioritize their wardrobe and are willing to spend the money. That's my target demo.
And I promise you, they are in your city.
Yeah, enough of the, no one in my city wants to spend any money. That is just not true. I don't care what city you operate in.
And you know why I know that? Because we used to say that same thing too. If you would have told me 10 years ago that this is, what we'd be doing and what we'd be making and the type of people we'd be working with, I wouldn't believe you. I would say, well, that's impossible because those people don't live here.
Or I would have said, well, we must have moved to New York.
Right. But enough with making these excuses for your market. They are out there and they're getting what they want from someone. If it's not you, LCC is the resource you need to make sure that it is you. And that's what we're helping you work through. So let's just talk about, the brass tacks of LCC. It's live right now. You can sign up right now. We would love to have you. We'll do some sort of an intro kickoff call and you'll get an email about that, okay? So if you sign up, you'll get that email with all of the instructions. But LCC is not, like we said, it's exclusive. We're not just accepting anyone. It's not like you can just join whenever you feel ready. If you're not ready to grab the loafers, you're going to miss out on the loafers. Someone else might want those loafers and is ready to take action.
And even if somebody doesn't buy the loafers from under you, the store is going to close.
Exactly.
It's not open 24/7.
You don't just get to think about the loafers. You got to act fast. It's open now. And the way that I'm doing it is it's not going to be open very long. I want 5 more, up to 5 more. I don't need 5 more, but I want up to 5 more of you in LCC or the 27th. That's all we're doing. Next week, we're in New York pretty much all week for the Custom Tailors and Designers Association Designer Forum New York. We're going to be seeing a lot of you there. It's a great place to talk about what we're up to. Enrollment, assuming it doesn't fill up, enrollment will still be open next week. But as soon as I hit 5 clothiers, we're closing this thing down. So up to 5 more of you are able to join, which isn't that many, or the 27th, and we're done. That's it. And like I said, your options are 6 months or a year. I'd recommend a year. You can do whatever you want. You can certainly join for 6 months and then sign back on for another 6, but you do get a little bit of a price break if you do the full year. So that's what I would do if I were you. But We are so passionate about this because it's not only what we experienced and what we've lived through and what we're continuing to live through, but we're watching it change clothiers' businesses in real time. The other thing that's just crazy is as we make changes in the way we do things, we're filling LCC in. I mean, we were workshopping the whole Thomas Mason shirt thing with LCC. We talked about that, and I think it was our first episode of this second season. We talked about the shift we made. We talked about the strategy. We worked through the scripts. We made it happen, and the clothiers in LCC are selling that caliber stuff too. It's not just us. We're working with whatever your needs are, whatever your goals are. We're helping you get there, and we're watching people's businesses change in real time. It's really amazing, and not only that, it's fun.
Yeah, it's great. This is lonely. It's lonely being a business owner. It's lonely having a bunch of family members and friends with W-2 jobs. It just is. And it's certainly lonely not really being close with anybody that's operating in your industry. And that's the other thing. It feels like a bonus, but it really is important. It's important to have that camaraderie, and it's also important to be able to workshop things and work through things and get other people's eyes, because it's not just us talking at people the whole time. That's the other thing, is it's an interactive group. And we ask questions to the group sometimes. It's not like we're these experts sitting on top of our thrones and pointing our scepters whenever we want
looking through our binoculars
our
down
servants to talk
at our peasants.
Yeah, it's collaborative, and everybody's businesses are better now than they were when they started, and that is a fact, ours included.
Yep. Enrollment for Luxury Clothier Collective is open now. You can join right now if this is feeling like something that is necessary for you. And I mean, maybe you're even sitting there saying, well, I don't want to, but maybe I have to. Maybe. I don't know. Only you can answer that. But what I can tell you is that your business will not be the same after you join. It just won't. Things change. Things happen fast. And I think you're going to be surprised how fast you can see some of this stuff ROI. It's been working for clothiers for the last year. It works for us every day. And we want to help you get there too. And we know you can. And enough with the excuses. You can do it. And we can help you do it. Luxury Clothier Collective is open right now. We want you to join. We want you to be able to be your luxury clothier in your market. Because if it's not you, someone else is going to.
Yeah, we want in your market, when people are thinking about custom suits, we want your name at top of mind. And there's a plan for that. And there's a strategy for that. But it takes intention, it takes time, and it takes money.
And before we wrap this up, there's one other thing I want to say, believe it or not.
I honestly can't believe it.
It's kind of the same deal when somebody comes here and they work with us and we, end up getting them squared away with a bunch of stuff and they spend a ton of money. That's not an expense for them.
That's true.
It's not like they just threw their money away.
I smell a riff coming on.
Oh boy. Riff alert. Sound the alarms.
That is very true. I think so often, because we're all wired mentally to shift towards poverty thinking. Anytime I spend money, that's money that I don't have. It's money that I've spent. This is not like a vacation, which, by the way, vacations, you get experience. You have pictures on your phone. Like, you get something from vacations. If you didn't, nobody would go on them. This is not merely an expense. LCC is not merely an expense. It is on 100% an investment.
It's an investment in you. It is, and it's also a write-off, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be a write-off.
It's got to be.
Don't take your tax advice from us, but it's got to be a write-off.
You know why.
Yeah. But that is very true. It is not just an expense that you're going to flush the money down the toilet and never see again. It is an investment that you are making in yourself, and a smart one at that. It is a transfer of funds for a bigger payoff later.
These stories we're telling you about what's going on with these clothiers in the group, that could be you if you join. It very easily could be something where you make one change, you say one thing differently, and all of a sudden you got the whole thing paid off in a day. I mean, that happens because it's happened multiple times, happens to us every single day. It just thinking about this in terms of it being some sort of a expense that you now have, it's just not true.
It's the wrong way of thinking.
It's the wrong attitude too. That's not the right mindset. So if you understand the idea of what we're saying, where it's really an investment, it's a transfer of funds, you do receive much more than you spend, and it's essentially providing you with a way to earn that much more, exponentially more in your business that you're running consecutively over and over and over. You get it.
Speaking of inbox and people living in the DMs for free, I'm just going to close with this story. When we launched $1 Million, have I told this story before?
You didn't tell it on the podcast. You shared it at the retreat.
Okay, great. Well, buckle up. When we launched $1 Million Manual, there was the reception was
2 years
strong.
ago, by the way.
Wow,
isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
2 years ago is when we launched.
Reception was strong. And of course, there were a ton of people in our DMs ask, hey, will this work for me? Here's the situation I'm in. Will it work for me? And it was like, yes, it will. Yes, it will. Even if you're just able to pull one thing out, the cost is worth it. And we had one custom clothier who was absolutely camped out in the DMs with all sorts of questions. Will this work for me? Here's the state of it. I don't think you understand my situation, which it's just like, stop it right there. Yes, I do.
I do. I get it.
I've been there.
Money's tight. I understand. I know how it feels.
He's like, I don't think you understand where I'm coming from. This dollar amount is a lot to me. And what happens if I buy $1 Million Manual and it doesn't pay off? And I immediately sent him a DM and I said, your mindset is incorrect. The correct question you need to be asking yourself is, what happens if this can change your business and you don't buy it? That's really what you're out. It's not the $800 that this thing costs. By the way, that's the answer to your question. That's what you're out. What happens if I spend the money and it doesn't ROI? You're out $800. That's the answer to your question. The other more correct question is, what happens if there's an $800 investment that exists and you're too afraid to pull the trigger and you're operating from a place of fear, and that $800 investment could change your life and could change your business, and you're too afraid to make that investment? What are you out in that scenario? You're out much, much more than $800. And 2 months later, according to his Instagram, he was no longer a custom clothier. I'm not saying that to be scary, guy. Right? You better do LCC, otherwise you're out of business.
You're out of business.
I'm not saying you're out of business.
No,
you've been doing just fine. You've been doing just fine.
You're just going to have the same business you have.
Yeah.
Which if you're loving it and it's going great and you wouldn't change a thing, great.
Yeah. Awesome.
But if you want to make some changes and you feel like you should and could be making more, living a better life, taking more vacations, working with better people who spend more easily, well, there is something you can do about that.
Well, that's it. The shameless plug and the shameless episode for LCC. And I don't mind being shameless about it because it works.
Have we been shameless today or have we been shameful? I don't got no shame.
I don't care because it works. It's just like a great restaurant. I want everybody to go there.
Right. Listen, when you're passionate about something, you don't have any issues promoting it, telling everyone you know about it. This works. I wouldn't be sitting here telling you it did if it didn't. And some of you are going to experience it firsthand. And I'm so excited for those of you who are in. Enrollment is open right now. You can join right now. You can't join forever. Up to 5 more of you are going to have the opportunity to be part of LCC. And I can't wait for what's going to happen to your businesses for those of you who are doing it. And we're excited to be part of your journey. And we're excited to get you to the point where you're finally running that business you wanted to run when you started doing this. Because it's possible. Running a custom clothing business can feel lonely, but it doesn't have to be. That's what Luxury Clothier Collective is. And we're so excited for those of you who are just about to experience this for the first time and finally understand what all that hype is about. This appointment's over. We'll see you for your next one. If you're a custom clothier and you want to be more profitable, less stressed, and work with more of your target demographic client, who spends more and buys more often, we share our exact strategies on how to do that in our resources available now on clothiercoaching.com, including $1 Million Manual, our playbook for turning your six-figure business into a custom clothing business that makes more than $1 million every year. For higher touch, more direct access to us, we have a small mentorship group called Luxury Clothier Collective, where we're actively helping clothiers around the country become their market's leader. If you're serious about finally building that profitable luxury custom clothing business you've always wanted, this is your next move. Join the waitlist and we'll let you know when enrollment opens again. Thanks for listening.